And now, your official TigerBait postgame show with Mike Scarborough and Preston Guy starts now.
All right, guys, here we are. Where to start on this one, man? It's LSU gets their fourth loss of the season. Fall in Gainesville. I mean, I'm telling you, a game that when you look at the box score, you look at the time of possession. LSU doubled up on time of possession, offensive productions. You just can't fathom the way LSU just really gave this game away. And frankly, Florida, by token, flipping it around, played with a lot more heart than LSU. And this, the title of this show is obviously Season on the Brink, debacle in Florida. And that's exactly what it is. We've been having this running gag all year long where I've been saying 7-5. I thought 9-3, 8-4 all along. But as he looked at the schedule, like, man, where are the losses going to come from? Who would imagine that LSU would have lost to Billy Napier and the Florida Gators? And now LSU's, when you start thinking about what the bowl possibilities are, where this program goes from here, losing offensive line commitment at the end after the game was over with tonight. And I'm just going to say this, and it's something that I posted before I let Preston start talking, something that I said in our live game chat. Look, there's a Jims and Joe's problem, and it's on both sides of the ball. When you look at LSU's personnel defensively, and I'm not pinning this loss entirely on the defense, but when you look at this team defensively, I'm telling you right now, there is not a starter on this year's LSU football team that would be a starter on any of LSU's above average to great football teams that you've seen this century in Baton Rouge. In fact, I think more than half of them would not even be a contributor. And I honestly believe that. And that is where your problem lies. And that's why this is going to take more than a year. It's going to take more than this fantastic 25 recruiting class, as well as, transfer portal signees. This is going to take time. I think the coaches there are on the defensive side of the ball. But I don't think that's going to satisfy a whole lot of people. So we're going to get to as many comments and questions as we can tonight. And so, Preston, go ahead and give your thoughts.
Well, Mike, as you know, as we become accustomed, as it's become a new 3-week tradition on this show, I like to open with this tiny little bit of positive, right, about LSU, and then get into the negative because I don't like to sugarcoat things. The good news is LSU's got a great recruiting class. Oh, wait. Devin Harper just flipped to Ole Miss right on the heels of this loss. There goes that. In all seriousness, the recruiting class is still in place, but this really is where the coaching staff needs to transition in a big way. This team is not a success this year. You're 6-4. You're not in the playoffs. You're not close. You're going to go to an embarrassing bowl game. Okay. You need to do your best to keep this team together. And almost more importantly than this team is keep this recruiting class together, right? Because you got a lot of great players. Signing days in, 40 days out now? You got to get those guys on board. You got to keep them on board, and you've got to challenge. And you can't tell me that, this Devin Harper news coming literally minutes after the loss, I mean, this didn't at least fuel his decisions, or at least the last, 2 losses didn't. So here's what you've got. You've got 3 straight ugly losses in which you have embarrassed the program and alma mater, the band, athletic director, everybody involved. 3 games where it was competitive in the first half, and your team, it quit on you. The team has quit on you after halftime in 3 straight games, and you have to wonder, what the hell is the coaching staff doing where these players come out so gosh darn flat in the second half? This is the most inexcusable loss of the Brian Kelly era. You went to Florida in a game that featured a true freshman running quarterback hobbled by a hamstring injury. By the way, he didn't run at all in this game. And somehow you find a way to lose to a hobbled backup freshman quarterback to Billy Napier and the 4-5 Florida Gators on the road. This is year 3. What are you doing, Coach Kelly?
Zach Nagy, Mike was right. I'm just sick of saying it. Hello, Zach. If you're around in a little while and you want to pop in, we'll send you the link. All right, Raymond Horton with a super chat. I'm assuming he's a Notre Dame Irish fan with the clover there, but he says Kool-Aid Fund. There you go. Thank you for the Kool-Aid Fund.
I appreciate it. And the clover. Hey, thank you,
we
Notre Dame fans, for coming in and supporting us once more.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. And shit show LSU dumpster fire. Y'all do me a favor. Go ahead and hit the it's not for you LSU fans. Obviously, it's not a happy time, but please hit the like button if you're enjoying the show as much as you can. Apathy says, "How very Dennis Allen of Brian Kelly." Jeremy Franks, "Hey Mike, I've had enough of this head coach. I'm really thinking about starting a GoFundMe account to get rid of this coach and help bring someone that can." I've seen a lot of GoFundMes out there and Kickstarter campaigns. I've never seen one that could raise the kind of money that you would need to raise. Maybe some world's finest chocolate, some pizza kits, the stuff that the middle school and high school kids sell for fundraisers. You're going to have to do a lot of car washes and a lot more. Bo Swindle, LSU setting records this year. Hey, Mr. Franks, if he gets fired, he gets $61 million, says Rob Barone. Exactly. We've got ourselves we've got a dumpster fire critter getter. He's not going anywhere. He's got a couple of years. He's 26 is the year where you really judge him. Bo Swindle, right, but it looks like this is turning into a Jimbo Fisher situation. The difference with that is you're never going to see in the state of Louisiana a coach get bought out for $50+ million. That's $17 million to get rid of Ed Orgeron. Was that the pinnacle? I tend to think that we would never see something crazy like that again. What's the highest that you could go without having a meltdown in the state of Louisiana because this state being, one of the 2 or 3 poorest states in the United States, and regardless of it being privately raised funds, that's we know of a certain former LSU professor that would all of his 2,000 X followers would be having a field day with.
Can I address that comment though real quick? The back end of it, talking about wasting talent. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that you can say that, because of mistakes that Brian Kelly made, he wasted the talent that is Jaden Daniels, period. He didn't hire the right defensive coaching staff. He made mistakes when he arrived. And frankly, he had a team that could have competed for a national championship last year had he not made those mistakes. Now, he also made the good of bringing in Jaden Daniels. But yes, last year's team was wasting talent. What talent are you talking about this year? Well, Mike, am I crazy? This is not a talented team.
I will say this. And I've been thinking this way for decades. This isn't new to me. And I've said it publicly many times on different shows and our site's message boards. And of course, it would never fly because when you're going out and you're trying to hire a coach who's already got a great job, you're never going to be able to have a piece of a contract, or a paragraph, a section of the contract that has disincentives in it. But I've just, when in a school like LSU, when you get to 4 losses, you ought to have like a year or 2 automatically cut from the back end of the contract. They're all, you've got incentives in contracts for top recruiting classes, for bowl games, for reaching 10 wins in a regular season. If you're named coach of the year, whether SEC or national coach of the year, there's all sorts of incentives in there. Graduating players, but how come there's never any incentives on the back that protects athletic departments? Too many, where you go, to me at a school like LSU, if you go more than 2 seasons without a playoff berth, then maybe a year or two falls off, or maybe the buyout of the back of half of a contract gets halved. There's, but you'll never see that. But I think that's why the ultimate goals in life for a lot of people is to become a ex-coach of an SEC program or a major program, because you get paid tens of millions of dollars to go away and fish and hunt and play golf. All right. Yeah. Animator said BK isn't fired, but his ass needs to make coaching. I don't think. Look, we'll see what happens on the offensive side of the ball. Might there be a change or two? We'll see. And look, part of the draw for Bryce Underwood is Joe Sloan. Those two are tight.
Right.
But yeah, Brian Kelly was holding an offensive laminated sheet in his hands all game long.
Well, the thing is, did it really improve? I don't know. There was a few play calls I really liked tonight. It wasn't executed. Think about like that Josh Williams drop. Remember that beautifully drawn up? I guess it was 3rd and 1, and Josh Williams just drops it, man. I mean, just a lot of times it's like they're calling good plays. It's just, is it Sloan's fault that Chris Hilton dropped the one beautiful deep ball that Nussmeier's thrown all year? Is it Sloan's fault when Nussmeier overthrows Hilton by 5 yards on the other one?
Is there any doubt, after everybody could read the lips, BK getting after Chris? Is there any doubt that Chris Hilton's going to be getting in the portal?
I hate that kind of talk, but it's dark and dreary. Let's put it like that. I mean, it has not been a good outlook for Chris Hilton.
Where's Kyron Lacey been? Mason Taylor's going to head off to the NFL. This offensive line, had a meme going around earlier. Of course, the famous Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka. Tell me again about how great this offensive line is.
It's not.
Losing Lacey, Aaron Anderson, big bright spot. Caden Durham, big bright spot. I get after Josh Williams a good bit, but he had some nice runs tonight. You can say in some patches that they actually abandoned the run. I mean, again, what do I say? Several big throws to Chris Hilton that were wasted plays in key situations where you couldn't afford to waste plays. I tell you what, that one in the back of the end zone, Malik Neighbors and a whole batch of former wide receivers in recent years would have caught that for a touchdown.
Oh, for sure. I think this receiving core is actually a lot worse than we thought. We thought they were going to be good, not great, and I don't know that they're good. I think Aaron Anderson shows up at times. He's pretty good, but limited in what he can provide. I think outside of him, you've got guys who are just, Kyron Lacey disappears for quarters at a time. He's not a consistent threat. And clearly they've keyed on. If they lock him down, LSU doesn't have much else they have to do. And it's just a bunch of okay guys. I think you got to do something to help out this team, especially if there's talk about Derek Meadows possibly flipping. And, it's he even as good as he's rated to begin with. There's some concerns with that as well.
I don't know. There's that you nailed it on the back end of that. I don't know that that's going to be an over big concern if that happens. All right. Of course, we're brought to you by some fine sponsors every post-game show. And of course, let's hear from attorney Kenneth Haines.
Kenny Haines is a proud 1989 graduate of LSU Law School with a passion for justice. Kenny stands out as the only lawyer in the state, board certified in both appellate practice and family law. Drawing from 34 years of trial experience, Kenny has navigated the most complex aspects of real people's lives. If you need help in Northwest Louisiana with a family issue, legal issue, or a highly skilled trial attorney, call Kenny 318-222-2100.
And, of course, Kenny is the official lawyer of TigerBait.com, and he reserves the right to think most clearly for a paying client. And I know as a big LSU fan, he is not happy tonight. So thanks to Kenny for always being a big part of TigerBait.com. All right. Yeah, DT Roll Hunter Meadows is 100% a potential guy, and a lot of Notre Dame folks in here that are watching. I've been talking to my boy Christian, and McCollum, and about him and his vids to Notre Dame. We'll see where he actually ends up at the end. Rick Kelly, no, I don't. Is there any chance Mason Taylor comes back? I don't see how that makes sense for him. I just don't. Look, if LSU was a team that was maybe in the playoffs this year and just missing a few pieces that could be a legit national championship team next year, maybe. But he's a high round draft pick, and man, he's taken a lot of hits this season. He's been hung out to dry. He's caught a lot of balls over the middle and taken some hits and hard hits to the ground. I mean, there's been multiple times where I'm like, man, how does he get up without having a separate shoulder on that one or another one? It's to me, it's time. He's given LSU 3 strong years, and I think he's gone.
Well, and how rare is it that a tight
I would
end,
advise him to go.
how rare is it that a tight end gets drafted in the first round of the NFL draft, right? It doesn't happen all that often. And certainly there's not many taken. So I don't know that he can really work himself up more than what his stock's already going to be. Mike, I got a good comment. Can I pop it up? Are you good?
Go ahead.
All right. So come on, Preston. BK is BS. BK BS already working on you. Plenty of talent at LSU. Now, let me tell you this.
There's not. No,
Number
there's
one,
not.
no, there isn't talent. But number two, it's not even BK propaganda. Whose job is it to get talent? He's had 3 years. Why is this team less talented than it was a year ago? I mean,
look, we've been talking about this for many months. We've been talking about it for a couple of years here on this show. You can call it bad hires. You can go as far as to say he didn't retain the right people when he got here. He should have kept Blake Baker the whole time. Shouldn't let Corey Raymond go. Shouldn't let Tommy Moffitt go. There's a whole lot of Monday morning quarterback in that one. But it's true. He didn't hire the right defensive coordinator off the bat. He didn't hire the right position coaches on the defensive side of the ball. And because of that, they're way behind the 8 ball with talent on that side of the football. And like I said earlier in the show, there's not a whole lot of dogs on that side of the ball. And frankly, there's not enough offensively either. But defense especially. Now that's not to say there's not a whole lot of guys who are fighting and giving you effort, and some guys that are young that can be guys. But right now, be honest with yourself. Is there anybody that you're going to jump up on the table and jump up and down and fight for someone to be first or second team all SEC on the defensive side of the ball? Swinson, honorable mention.
Maybe Whitweeks, maybe Swinson.
Yeah, but neither one of those guys are first or second team. They had a few nice games in the middle of the season and have disappeared.
That has more to do with who else is out there.
Savion Jones was looking good during a portion of the season earlier.
Yeah.
But where are we at right now? We're in the meat of the schedule.
Right.
And you're collapsing. What have those guys done in the meat of the schedule against the best teams?
Yeah, exactly. Mike, did you see your super chats? I think we got 2 that we haven't touched on.
Go ahead. Hit them.
All right, I'll throw them up there. All right. Okay. So, Brandon Deblock, thank you for the $2 super chat. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. You know what? I think that puts you in the minority. I think most people are mad. I think they are, because your school's paying $10 million for an elite head football coach, and you're not getting elite results. Not even close. And this one, forgive me if it did go up. I don't remember it going up, but it was a while back ago.
No, I missed it, and I'm sorry, Brad. Go ahead.
Has Glenn Gilbo taunted you guys yet? I remember Glenn was a big Napier guy.
No, but I did, Brad. I did text Glenn in the middle of the first half, and I said, "Can LSU win this Glenn Gilbo Bowl?" And his reply back to me was not with Nussmeier. And so
I'm gonna text him right. As we all know, I'm blocked on Twitter by Glenn Gilbo, but oddly enough,
I know you guys don't believe it, but Glenn Gilbo is an LSU grad, and I assure you, he really does pull for LSU.
Here's the deal. He blocked me on Twitter.
He does like to stir the pot, though.
He gave me his cell phone number, so I don't know that really does a ton of good. So I'll tell you what. I'll ask Glenn if he has a comment. Okay, and we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. GB, finally, Preston. Now you understand what Mike has been saying.
I mean, I've been understanding it. I try to be more grounded and based in reality. You know, I don't want to say you're unreal. It's just that I try not to go too hard in the emotional direction. That's all.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, what did I say when I gave my 9-3 prediction early in the season?
Well, you said you wanted to go 8-4.
I said I was really thinking 8-4, but I went 9-3 because I didn't want the grief. Right? How many times have I said that?
Well, bit.
I mean,
so, look, a lot more.
You can say, well, Mike's a coward. Mike's a coward because he didn't want to go 8-4 because he didn't want the backlash from the LSU fans. And you might be right on that point, but you know, the fact of the matter is, in the spring, I was running around saying 7-5.
Yeah. Well, you know, and look,
that still can happen because believe me, this Vanderbilt team's better than Florida.
Here's the deal.
Difference is you get them at home.
And where we're at is this is amongst the ugliest 3-game stretch we've ever seen in the post Saban era, right? And you know, you lose to Texas A&M, you have a collapse in the second half. Okay, that happens. It's a road game at Texas A&M. Bama comes and beats your face in. Yes, that's a humiliating loss. It is Alabama, talented roster. And at this point, it's like there's none of that anymore. It's now 3 straight games in which your team quit in the second half. I always like to wait until the result to evaluate is there. And yeah, we were seeing obviously the signs were there for the last 3 games, and that became a trend. It wasn't a one-off at all. This is what I'm getting at. Yeah, he did say that a bunch. Like every time Nussmeier would throw a pick at fall camp, he'd be like, "Man, this team's going 7-5, man."
By the way, how many interceptions? Hold on, he didn't have any. Did he have? He had
0 tonight. Hey, all right. Can I talk about that real quick? As why? Let's spin this positive into a negative. So they fixed the Nussmeier interception problem. Obviously, in your SEC games, 7 interceptions in 3 big SEC games. Ole Miss thrown in there, of course. Not good. Not ideal. Tonight, you finally don't have an interception, and what happens? 7 sacks, and a fumble, right? And all of a sudden, your defense is on the field for 18 minutes, and somehow in 18 minutes, you give up 27 flipping points. What I'm getting at here, you lost a game tonight in which you won the time of possession 42-18. 42 minutes. You had more than double. You almost had 2.5 times the time of possession. You beat them in first downs 25-13. You outgained them by about 50 yards. You even had less penalties. So remember, penalties, pre-snap penalties, we were talking about that being an issue with this team. Guess what? You ran the ball well. Remember that being an issue? Third down, you aren't converting well. Go 13-24 tonight. So all these issues we've talked about with this team tonight, you corrected, and somehow, some way, you still found a way to get waxed by 4-5 Billy Napier, Florida, with a backup hobbled freshman quarterback, because other issues arise. And that's where you have to look to the top of the pyramid and say, is there some sort of dysfunction there? Because you're fixing issues, you're righting the ship in other ways, and then as quickly as you fix an issue, more appear, and your losses are getting worse and worse as you go on through the season. That is what is so deeply concerning about getting waxed by Florida by 11 points tonight, and your quarterback didn't throw any interceptions. That's where my concern is truly grave.
Tiger Mark, the crazy thing is people never realize some of the people we got out of the portal on defense, like Gilbert, couldn't see the field at the schools they left, but come here and start, says a lot. Cameron Rogers with a super chat. Thank you, Cameron. This is the first time in a long time I can say LSU doesn't have any household names, no stars, We used to be able to win even with bad coaching, with great talent. Not the case anymore. I'm going to be real curious to see. I still think, between Spears and a lot of other youth, there's some young talent coming up. Obviously, 25 class, need to hold it together. Don't have any more defections, and add to it. And then you're going to have Austin Thomas and that coaching staff really get it done in the portal in a big way. You want to get it done in a big way where you hit a bunch of triples and home runs. I'm not talking about doing it in the Florida State way. Yeah, I honestly believe this. Certainly, when BK came in and what he inherited was a big problem talent-wise, but we're now seeing a stretch here. If you want to say from 20, and of course Jaden Daniels upended everything and carried the program. But I think you're in a stretch here where the lack of talent in the program is on par with what you saw in the 90s and about what he inherited from Jerry DiNardo. But in fact, if you go back and look at Nick Saban, what he inherited from DiNardo in the year 2000, there was a lot of NFL guys there. And, we might look back and maybe compare, but I just think there's more holes here right now than any time that you've seen this century. That's got to get fixed in a hurry. And it's not going to be any easier next year. It's easy to make the case that next year's team, without knowing what they're going to get in the portal in December, and that's the other part of it too. They need so much immediate help in the portal that you need to be successful in the December portal with guys who can be there in January in school and be there for spring football as much as possible. But this is really they've got a big problem. And look, there were a lot of former players on hand for the Alabama game. It was a who's who. Everybody came in for the Alabama game. And boy, some of the off the record comments that they had to say when I was coming down the elevators, back up the elevators, down in the tunnel, down on the field after the game. And some of it wasn't even the words they were saying. It was just the shaking of the head. And of course, we talked about it on last week's postgame show. They hit on everything from strength and conditioning to everything we've been discussing now for multiple weeks. Rock solid. Ryan Burns' pin is sorry since Brad Davis soft ass got here. We haven't been able to run the ball. Nuss overlooks open receivers. Nuss will always be a backup. The offensive play calling is shits. Rock solid, letting it fly.
We got a couple super chats. You want me to pop them up there?
Yeah, nail them. For whatever reason, you're seeing them and I'm not.
Brad David, will LSU be favored against Vandy and OU? Barely.
Yes.
Barely. But that doesn't mean they win those games.
No.
You don't want to play Vanderbilt next week. You know what? I mean, Vanderbilt is looking at this imploding LSU team and saying, let's beat LSU and Alabama in the same season and Auburn. I mean, they're looking for a banner year at Vanderbilt, and they are tough. They are gritty. That's not the team you want to play next week. I guess the one good news I could say about your matchup is LSU struggled with big pass plays, big plays in general, 55-yard run, and Vanderbilt's not really a big play team. They're like a grind you down, roll out, dink and dunk you kind of team, and you have to play disciplined football. But, with the way LSU just has created new issues throughout this skid. I'm not sure that any of that gives me confidence at all. It's almost like you don't even want to evaluate what you're seeing on the film, because it's like, what's the new issue that's going to arise? Okay, so tonight the running quarterback didn't hurt you. Lagway didn't run the ball once because he was hurt with a hamstring, and somehow, some way, you managed to give up 27 points in 18 minutes. Anyways, let's move on to the next super chat. We got another one. Oh boy, I think I got a couple actually coming in after that. Harlem Berry is comped to Reggie Bush. The cavalry is coming. I think he might be a little smaller than Reggie Bush.
He compares to me to Joe McKnight, but I think he's going to be more dynamic of a player. But he is a little on the light side. You can't line him up at wide receiver.
Shoot, they do in 7-7.
I don't want to lose. I don't want to see Caleb Jackson getting in the portal.
Really?
But where's he been? To me,
one carry tonight.
Some bigger backs. What's John Emery going to do? Is he going to get that what do you call that? The medicals?
The medical red shirt.
The 6th year of eligibility, which he what was the kid?
It feels like 7.
Well, who was the kid at Miami that got one?
The kid at Miami got 8.
Yeah.
So
John Emery is going to qualify for that if he wants to come back. And like we keep saying, no young man deserves to have some success and have some good luck come his way than him. But you have Lindsey, of course, Durham. We'll see what happens with Trey Holly, but I don't want to see Caleb Jackson go. I'd like to maintain some size at that running back spot. You're going to lose Josh Williams, obviously.
Right. Another super chat from No Cojones Kelly, and I don't think he's photoshopping the cojones back in anytime soon. I don't know about you, but has BK lost the team? Why did 3 and 4? He's talking about Sage Ryan and Swinson. Probably like a missed practice or was late. I think it was
there was a disciplinary issue.
Lost the team.
Out there, but,
Mike, has Brian Kelly lost the team? I'll let you take that.
Man, I don't know if that's the case.
And here's the question: is it that the head coach?
I just think they're worn down. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not buying in. And of course, you could say that's losing the team. But
is it that he's losing the team, or is that the team's bad and has been bad all year, and it's covered up because you got lucky with some plays and calls?
By the way, what is USC? By the way, what is USC's record now?
I don't know. They won today. That's all. They're about like Florida. You've lost to 2 500 football teams this year.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss, I mean, frankly, you pulled off some miraculous low percentage plays against Ole Miss. So it's like, is it that you've lost the team, or did you just find that the team was not good? You get what I'm saying? Anyways, Another super chat from Texas Tiger. Hallman, Curly Hallman equals Kelly. I've been coming since 1979. Will Kelly go into the portal? Are AAOT's All-American offensive tackles?
All-American offensive tackles are anything but All-American, and Vanderbilt is a good team. Watch out. Yeah.
That was a tough one to read, man. But yeah, it's all right. I mean, yeah, Vanderbilt is a good team. Watch out for them. I guess the good news about your All-American offensive tackle,
Texas Tiger is I'm going to give him the mulligan on that and thank him for the super chat. I could see the distillery icon.
He's probably half a bottle in, as we all should be.
And I don't blame him. And if I was with him, I'd share one with him. But
and part of it was like, is he talking about Aaron Anderson or All-American? I had to okay.
He's talking about All-American offensive.
Right. No, right. It just took me a second. Anyways, the good news is your offensive tackles might come back next year because they've played so poorly. They might not be able to get drafted as high. I don't know. There's
another false start.
Boy. Another super chat. I guess at this point, guys, if you want to get your comment up here, drop a super chat because they're coming in fast. Sometimes I feel Kelly is unaware and not involved enough. Other times I feel as though he's too involved. Your thoughts?
He lets his coach. He lets his coaches coach. He doesn't micromanage. I can tell you that. I'm I'm watching him tonight. Yes, he's got the play card in his hand. I didn't see him talking a whole lot into his headset. Did you?
No, but I saw him holding up that play sheet a bunch.
Yeah,
And
but
he
I
even
didn't see him
commented
talking into it.
he even commented after the game that the buck stops here. You know, when a reporter asked him about play calling, and he's like, you know, when the team is struggling, it's my job to step in and make sure things are going well. And I think he did call some plays tonight, particularly in crucial situations. That's what I'm understanding. So, I don't know. I think that if you feel your head coach getting involved with the offense and play calling is problematic, I think that's indicative of who you've hired as a head coach, because people used to get mad at Les Miles for fiddling with the offense. And it's like, well, your head football coach is supposed to know football, right? He's supposed to be good at this kind of stuff.
I can tell you, look, when every time there's a loss, and of course now you're 3 weeks in a row, you get a whole lot of phone calls. Man, he sure does play a whole lot of golf. He plays too much golf. I see him at the country club. Everybody sees him at the country club. I don't know. I will say this. I have thought at times, every coach is different. Les Miles was the worst about keeping his coaches in the building till 10, 11 o'clock at night. And Orgeron cut that back a good bit. I think BK staff probably might have more off time and downtime and time with their families than previous LSU staffs we've seen in a long time. But without being there and seeing it and hearing what a coach might tell me, you know, like, man, I sure do. I'm not required to be in the building as much as I was under that head coach. We're not hearing anything like that. I mean, could that be happening? I don't know, but
yeah.
I will say this. I don't know that it's I'm not going to question a lot of the coaches on the staff, because I think there's some excellent coaches on this football staff. It's Jim's and Joe's, bottom line. And so what have they done? They put together one of the top recruiting classes in the country, despite Harper flipping to Ole Miss earlier this evening. They'll fill that spot.
Yeah. And look, let me touch on that, because I feel like when I say similar points, that a lot of people do say, well, you're making excuses for this coaching staff. No, it's their job. It's their job to bring in.
I'm not making excuses.
That's
the reason why this defense sucks so bad is it's Brian Kelly's fault.
It is Brian Kelly's fault.
It's his fault.
Absolutely. I'm not being soft on him, but the fact is, okay, Brian Kelly, the argument is that Notre Dame, you were just that one win or two away, and you couldn't compete against Ohio State and the Alabamas of the world because you couldn't get that talent. So you went on down south to the Bayou to get some of that Bayou speed. Where's the Bayou speed?
Well, here's the thing. Again, if you're not very patient, you're not going to be happy for a while. Yeah, I'm just going to say that.
That's true.
You're going to have to find happiness in seeing progress, top recruiting classes, big time recruits coming on campus, and start looking to the future. It's almost kind of like into that DiNardo bring back the magic, or Saban getting here and adding to it, and then setting LSU on a path they've been on for decades now.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to find some happiness in the build.
I look. I do.
All right, let me. I get a couple more ads.
Get to an ad. We got super chats coming after that. Okay.
All right. Here we go. Genesis of Lafayette.
Drive-in style and luxury with a new Genesis from Genesis of Lafayette. Buy a 2023 Genesis G70 3.3T Sport Prestige Executive Demo and pay only $39,870. Buy a new 2025 GB70 and take $2,000 off the MSRP with value owner, competitive owner incentive, plus finance for 2.99% APR for 60 months or 3.99% APR for 72 months. Don't forget to start your shopping online by visiting genesisoflafayette.com.
That's it. Genesis of Lafayette. Blake Mesh, greatest salesman in the state of Louisiana. Jaron Guidry, the sales manager. Two huge LSU fans. And like I always say, there's a reason they sell more Genesis than any other dealer in Louisiana. And those specials that you saw in that commercial, they've got new ones now. the interest rates are getting a lot better. Genesis of America, the bank, in-house financing, great rates. And so the very best buyer experience of a new luxury SUV or sedan. Call them toll-free, set up your test drive, 877-856-2961. Tell them TigerBait sent you. Again, Genesis sells more Genesis than any other dealer in the state of Louisiana, and you get to deal with some LSU fans. They're going to deliver the car to your driveway. So if you're in Monroe, Shreveport, New Orleans, it doesn't matter. Houston LSU fans, head to Lafayette. Let them earn your business. They're going to beat the pants off everybody. They're going to go the extra mile. They're going to go 4 states over to get the one with the right features you want, and the whole ball of wax. All right, real quick. Stroubes, folks. All our TigerBait live shows probably brought to you this football season by Stroubes Seafood and Steaks, 107 3rd Street, downtown Baton Rouge. Absolutely a pinnacle of fine dining, locally owned, ownership right there in the building, taking a high level of pride in the food and service you're just not going to get from national chains. They offer a full menu of specialty meats, USDA prime black Angus steaks, 100% certified Wagyu New York strip, and they've got everything beyond steaks. You want the dry aged pork chop, black truffle, lobster, pasta, redfish, much more. Head to Stroubes.com and you can really see the whole menu. Make a reservation. And again, tell them TigerBait sent you in. Get your gift cards. Great gift cards for the holidays at Stroubes.com. And you can still probably book your holiday parties. And please do tell them TigerBait sent you in, and that cowboy ribeye. Like, oh man, I could hammer that right now. All right, go ahead, Preston.
I think I need to get some of the bourbon that they've got there too, man. Good stuff that they serve there. Super chat, Kenny Haines. On a positive note, that tiger head is fire. Thanks. I picked that up from guess where? Alumni Hall. Yeah. So look, it actually flips out and it like turns into like a onesie type coat situation. I don't know. Let's see if I can. It's like a jacket. So, anyways, that's the tiger head. I can't get it to do it right now. But cool stuff. Y'all make sure to go to Alumni Hall.
I thought that was actually one of your slippers that you walk around the house in.
It kind of looks like one of those, but no, it's just a little tiger head. And he's like, yeah, man, take this. Everybody always comments on it when we bring it to events. I was like, no way. And son of a gun. By the way, Monday night, we're going to have some pretty exciting news about Alumni Hall. Not like a marketing gimmick kind of thing, but I think it'll be news relevant and interesting to LSU fans. So y'all tune in Monday night for more on that. Another super chat from Open Bayou. Thank you for the $5 super chat. What makers this loss hurt more? Tulane making this or Tulane making the playoff? I mean, good for Tulane if they make the playoffs. I don't care if Tulane makes the playoffs. So more pie in your face, but this loss is humiliating for LSU.
Tulane's got a good football team. I got a text earlier today. Tulane's offense sure does run a lot better than LSU's. LSU all day, every day with a super chat, no comment. Did he give a comment after that? There it is.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, happiness in the build. It's been 3 years, man. How long? Here's the point. They were basically starting from almost zero with this new staff that came in. That's where the aggravation, and I think where the LSU fans have a right to be aggravated. And the buck stops with BK, like he says. He made some mistakes when he first got hired, and he also had some bad luck. We know the history of the D-line coaches and the issues that took place there. Matt House didn't work out. On and on, and they're paying the price for it. So,
sure are. Super chat, but I think I got a comment. Hold up.
Thank you, Jimmy.
If we lose 1 or 2 more games, will we hold this class together? I'll let the guru take that one.
Most of those prospects look at the opportunity. They got great relationships. Everything is here for LSU. And as bad as you think things are right now, again, there are some fantastic football coaches in that building, support people, analysts. Now, that's not to say that BK is not going to sit down, and he might even have an idea right now and he'll always say, any coach says it. We evaluate once the season's over with. I think there's going to be some changes, but they're not going to be wholesale. And it could be where some guys also get a job somewhere else. But to me, every coach says we look at everything, and we'll see what they end up doing. I've already gotten wind of an analyst coming in this week, so just want to confirm that he is indeed on his way. But another fantastic coach, I think, is probably going to be an analyst, but maybe it might be more. So we'll see how that pans out. Go ahead. Anything else?
Well, no more super chats. Shockingly, we worked our way through them all, but I'll throw up one that I found interesting. Y'all need to stop the Kelly Saban comparison. Here's the thing, man. When you're trying to look at what's going on currently and give a prediction as to what will happen from that, your best indicator is your history, what's happened in the past, right? And he's 26-11 now, and Saban was 26-12. So you're not. I mean, and we can talk all day about the differences in context, but at the same time, they both inherited a program that was wrecked in different ways, right? And they both put up a record that was basically the same.
All we're doing is going back in history to look.
That's all. It's all
things that are similar situations in LSU history. It's not about to compare BK to Saban.
By the way, DiNardo
if I'm comparing him to anybody right now, it's Les Miles without the national championship.
DiNardo had an eerily similar start to LSU as well. He was 28, 9-1, I think is what it was. All three of those coaches, the point is to tell you, it could go one way, drastically shift, and it could go another way, right? Now, with Saban, that 2002 season, they were 8-5. It's looking like this football team's going to be about 8-5 or something like that. They got blasted by Alabama, 31-0. You lost to Bama, 31 points. I'm just saying,
Satchmo's had one too many high noons tonight. This guy ain't Saban. You got who's comparing him to Saban? Satchmo.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just telling you, get some Q-tips in those ears, man. Nobody's saying that.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who's wondering if he's Mark Richter or Kirk Ferentz. You don't pay $100 million for that.
In the famous words of Lil Dicky, it's apples to oranges, but why can't fruit be compared? You get what I'm saying? Like, you can compare different things without saying they are the same.
All right, let's see. Carvis Durr, he's always one of my favorite commenters. Great comments every time he posts something. BK will continue to bring in the right talent. We need better quarterback play. I have seen nothing right now. Two things. I've seen nothing right now that tells me Bryce Underwood's not coming to LSU. And I've seen nothing right now that tells me that LSU should have anything but a wide open quarterback competition in the spring. With Bryce Underwood and Colin Hurley and whoever else is there that hasn't transferred out competing for the starting job.
Mike,
no guarantees to Garrett Nussmeier on that.
First off, if Bryce Underwood does end up signing,
and I'm not saying Bryce Underwood's going to beat him out as a true freshman. He's got loads of talent, but I don't want to hear any nonsense about he's our guy and Underwood's the number 2.
All right. Well, hear me out though. Bryce Underwood should see the field. He brings a different skill set that you need to at least get him involved, right? I think that's a minimum. Anyways, did you think anything of them rolling out AJ Swan instead of Ricky Collins tonight when Nussmeier got shaken up?
Ricky Collins is, there's some guys that are automatically going in the portal. He's one of them. That's absolutely.
Because of Bryce Underwood, I would assume, right? Not because things are that bad for him.
Yeah, I think that's been brewing since the summer. Yeah, the highest odds on Collins and followed by Chris Hilton getting in the portal.
Yeah. That's one of the problems about bringing in a talented true
And then
freshman like that.
We'll see about Shelton Sampson and some others. I mean, it's not hard to put together a list of guys that are going to get in the portal. Is Womack going to get into the portal? Look, I don't imagine he's very happy about the number of plays he's gotten this season, but at the same time, he could be the guy next year. It could be set. It's set up for him if he's absolutely the best to be out there on that field. Yeah, he should be playing more. If you're a recruit, how can you not be excited about this team? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and they don't panic like fans. They don't. That's absolutely true. Sampson should enter the portal. Said Edo got the crabs. Burgess, LSU needs absolutely. I look. I'm not taking a shot at Nuss, but maybe I guess it is backhanded. I don't recruit quarterbacks that are just pocket guys. You're not going to. I just don't see you ever winning anything major. And of course, everybody will bring up the former Georgia quarterback and this guy over there. But for the most part, if you're going to do big things in college football, you've got a dual threat guy.
And I'll say this: at least a threat to run. It doesn't have to be a runner, but that's not even LSU system limited to that. Look at football in general, right? Look at the NFL right now. Who is the best quarterback in the NFL who is not a threat to run? Go down the list. It's Kirk Cousins. Okay, you got to work through probably a dozen quarterbacks before you get all the way down to Kirk Cousins. That is the state of football. Is you have to be able to extend the play with your legs somehow, some way. Joe Burrow is not what you would call a quote dual threat quarterback, a runner, but he can move. He can scoot.
Well, I will say this: I've said for a long time that I thought Nussmeier was faster than Burrow, but after watching him run tonight a bit and move out of the pocket, I'm not convinced of that.
I don't care if his tracked speed is higher. Burrow has football speed. Okay. It's not the same. Now, look, Nussmeier did put some effort into running.
And here's the other part. I think there's probably a split second where Burrow knows to move, and Nussmeier doesn't have that split second where, and then whether to go left or right, Burrow always guesses right or has the instincts to go, rotate or
right,
spin around, and it gets him in the right direction. Nussmeier does it the opposite. He gets himself in more trouble.
It's almost like
he's taking some brutal sacks.
He likes to step up in the pocket. He does, but a lot of times that clean pocket ain't there, and he's stepping up into a disaster.
Yeah.
I definitely think for LSU's system, you need a guy who can scoot and move and roll out. But again, I think a threat to move is just the state of football.
Nuss Renlick had weights around his ankles. This is two asinine comments in a row. They're not common enough to build a program. What are you talking about?
It's like we have a commenter from 2004.
There's more of those than there are Zach Mettenberger types out there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, look, the game's evolved, man. I mean, it just has. You do RPOs and more rollouts, and it's a new game, right? The way a lot of these schemes are designed, it's just differently now.
Alan Derwin, Mike, did you know Lagway was so accurate on long balls? Somewhat. I mean, LSU recruited Lagway.
I interviewed Alec Lagway, and Lagway liked LSU, by the way. Very nice, respectful kid. I think his uncle played for LSU, something like that. So there was some genuine interest, but I think LSU was really high on Colin Hurley is what it was. And they ended up getting Colin Hurley to reclassify. Plus Florida had a ton of NIL money from the Jalen Rashada deal that didn't come through. So yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me seeing him hit those. Boy, it ain't long before Lagway is something special for Florida. Watch out next year.
Daniel Hayward, has the talent been misjudged? I think it has.
Some of it.
I think it has.
I mean, I kind of want to say what talent.
I shake my head at some of the rankings of players that I see across all the networks. I really have. And then it looks like I'm picking on players. And because, again, they don't rate themselves.
Right.
You know, there's some 5'3" guy who got that job with a mass communications degree, and he starts rating players, and he shows up at high school games and takes some pictures. I mean, I see it every year. And so when you say Joe Blow's overrated, well, it's not Joe Blow's fault that he's overrated. He didn't rate himself. He didn't submit his own ranking. Somebody else gave it to him. You know, it puts those kids in a bond. For everybody to go on the internet to say they're that they're overrated. It's not their fault. Somebody else did it.
But that being said, even looking in this year and guys coming back, I mean, did we misrate Will Campbell and how good he would be? Obviously, we did. Did we misrate Caleb Jackson in a big kind of way?
I'm not going to say that. And look, Emory Jones and Will Campbell have taken their lumps. I'm not going to back off what their high school rankings were.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly deserved it.
Now you can have the debate, and some are saying it that maybe Will Campbell at the next level is a guard, that he's not going to end up being but do I think Will Campbell can have a 10 to 15 year career in the NFL? I absolutely do.
Well, I also think there's a misconception about star
Same
rating.
with Emory Jones. I think both of them right now are playing out of position. I don't think it could very well be they're not playing the position now they're going to play in the NFL.
I think there's a big misconception that if a guy's a 5-star, he should be able to be plugged in and be one of the best players in college football next year, when the reality is there might be a dozen or so guys in that are truly what they're showing at the high school level right now, ready to play and be all conference type players. Right now, there's some guys who are put in situations, maybe it's a running back and they have a great offensive line and he's just able to be carried to that. But it's very rare that a freshman, as a true freshman, is able to come in and be an elite player. So truly what it's about is once you get these guys with that talent, right? It's just a talent evaluation. It's about how you develop that player to actually become a great player. It's about what goes on year 2, 3, so on to become a great player. Star rating does not mean great player. It just means high amount of talent that we're seeing.
One thing we like to do with all our TigerBait sponsorship is partner with locally owned business we've experienced firsthand, and we know we can endorse that they provide an outstanding experience to our viewers. And this football season, we're proud to add Capital City Grill to that lineup. 100 Lafayette Street, downtown Baton Rouge. Capital City Grill is your ideal lunch and dinner stop for your casual dining experience. Capital City Grill features a variety of sandwiches, burgers, seafood, pasta, steaks, and almost everything priced at $30 or below for affordable experience. Head over there tomorrow. If you've going to drink a bit too much tonight after the pain of this ugly LSU loss, great brunch tomorrow from 11 to 2, and several of them some of the menu items are really good for a hangover. Either way, it's a great brunch. And book your reservation at capitalcitygrill.net, but you don't need one. You can do it if you want, but you don't need it. But capitalcitygrill.net, you can look at the menu. 11 to 2, a fantastic brunch. And I'm probably heading that way myself. And there it is right there on the screen, that chicken and waffles that I had about a month ago. I'm ready for it again. So I might head there tomorrow. Should have beautiful weather, great patio for downtown, and head over to Capital City Grill for your lunch or Sunday brunch. And they've got all the sandwiches, a great French dip sandwich as well, club sandwiches, burgers, the works. Let's see. BK doesn't have a feel of a coach that will lead us to a national championship, I'm assuming. I can't, I'm not going to fault you for not having that feeling. You've seen nothing so far that would lead you to believe that that's on the way. John Massey, is it true BK has seen? Oh, come on, man.
Let me comment on the Brandon's comment there. Doesn't have the feel. Let me counter with this. Did Les Miles or Ed Ogeron have that feel? Just ask yourself that, and I'd say neither one of them did.
I think Les Miles had it more so, and absolutely not when Ed Ogeron was hired that I think he was going to do what he was going to end up doing. And of course, he ended up doing in the last few years maybe what a lot of people thought he was going to do initially. But like I always say, his first few years in the 19 title, over 5 years, I think every fan base in America would take that 5-year run over and over, rinse, lather, repeat. To have the greatest team in college football history in 2019, followed up by a rotten COVID season and then another season before he was cut loose. Everybody would take that over and over again for that one 2019, and then the year before was a nice season. It was a lot of LSU fans had more fun than they've ever had in their lives that 19 season. Eric DeLon, pull up Nick Saban's record his first 3 years at LSU, and as a parent, I could tell you nobody was thinking he was going to win a national championship the next year.
It's true.
Oh yeah, lost to UAB.
I remember all sorts of wild comments from that season. Like people would tell me, Nick Saban's not even that great of a coach. Larry Coker's way better than Nick Saban, man. Yeah, I mean, nobody had that team. I mean, they got blasted by Alabama. Matt Monk got hurt a lot of that season. Remember the Bluegrass Miracle? They needed a miracle just to beat a Guy Morris Kentucky team. Like they were not good in 2002. And the stars just aligned. I don't personally see the same ingredients that were there in 2002, but who's to say very many people saw the ingredients in 2002? I mean, did people really look at Matt Mock and think, yeah, that's a dude who's going to win a championship? Did you see
when Matt Mock arrived? There was the main discussion was him playing safety.
Well, I think wasn't he like 27 years old when he got here, and like he was just kind of an athlete. And Matt Mock swears, he tells me to this day that Saban did not like him. He wanted Marcus Randall to be the starter. To this day, he's taken that to his grave. Michael Clayton, he was starting as a true freshman, but I mean, did people see him coming out and being the kind of threat he was? Think about that defense. I mean, a lot of those guys were on that 03 defense that was just so staunch. A lot of those guys were also playing on that 02 defense. And who was it in the bowl? Was it Texas who blasted LSU in the bowl game in 02?
Yeah, Williams at receiver.
Ricky Williams, right. And people probably were sitting there thinking, man, this Corey Webster guy, he stinks.
Yep.
He can't cover anything, man.
Jack Hunt took his lumps that day, and then the next year he played fantastically.
Yeah, he did.
But all right, guys, fantastic show. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already. BK's post-game pressers up on the channel. Preston will go live Monday, and I'm going to lose my shit when Vandy whips our ass, says Ron Skipper with a late chat. Thank you for that, Ron. All right, everybody. If you enjoyed the show as much as you could after the fourth loss of the season, please hit the like button. It helps us with the algorithm. Just do it for us. And again, subscribe, notification bell. Preston live Monday night with Zach, and we got a lot more recruiting stuff coming your way. It's going to be a different week to cover LSU football. I can tell you that. So We're going to have a lot for you on TigerBait.com. Go to the website, subscribe for $1. We want to have you subscribe to TigerBait and a part of our TigerBait community. I'm on the board day and night answering your questions and comments. And high school playoffs kicking to another gear this week. So we'll be out at more high school games this coming week. So, all right, everybody, y'all enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll see y'all next week. Good night.